Attention. Go.
And that's a clean start from both crews. Leander quite aggressive on that start, Jess.
And I think the wind's actually dropped. It looks a bit flatter there at the start. It's going to make things a bit easier for these crews to align. And yeah, exactly saying clean start, get off to the end of the island, and then deal with the rest of the course once you get there, because it gets a bit wobbly.
Is it easier to steer a quad or to steer a Cox's 4?
I'd always say, I mean, I'm a sweep rower, so I love Cox's 4s, but I guess a quad is a bit more even. You've got both blades in each hand. Cox's 4, you've got a bit more leverage, so whoever's in the bow seat might have more leverage. You can pull those bows around, and you kind of have to work that out, but it happens in all sweep boats, the kind of unevenness. Pretty clean start from these crews here, and the advantage of sculling.
So it's Kath Maitland, the Duke University alumnus and Oxford boat race competitor, who is steering that Leander quad straight down the centre of the course. They're going through their start phase at the moment and just coming out of that high rating into transitioning into what we call sort of mid-course pace. And you can see Leander doing that really well. There's a lot of horse going on there from Natasha Harris-White, the former Henley College student in the 3-seat with the white cap. You can see she's really anchoring that boat from the 3-seat, isn't she, Jess? It's
nice and horizontal though. Look how low they are on the shoulders. You put a ruler there, they're not going up and down, they're just gripping and hanging, grip and hang. And bear in mind they're going flat out, their heart rate's near maximum, lactic acid is kicking in now after a minute. They're keeping that sequence, they're really well anchored and levering.
Just explain briefly that lactic acid thing there, Jess.
Yeah, so anyone that's ever done a 100-metre sprint, by the end of the sprint you start slowing up, it starts to hurt, 15 seconds to 20 seconds, your body's starting to get full of lactate, and you move from being anaerobic into aerobic, and it's that mix between moving from using your reserves, using your glycogen, and it's clicking your body into endurance, and it's painful, and you're still going hard, so you've got to clear that lactic acid. It's that painful feeling of that hand in the fire, and rowers have to do it whilst going backwards and being super technical. So it's, we always big ourselves up, it's a hard thing to do, but that moment in the race is almost where you decide whether to stay with the race or not. And the class crews you see can just keep that pace, hold that pace through the second 500 metres, and you've got an absolutely outstanding crew that can do that.
Yeah, and that's why on the recovery you want to be so loose and fluid like that Leander crew. Oxford Brookes on the right of your picture. Closest to us is Jen Hoffman, 22-year-old bowwoman, Alice Harper. Got 2 degrees at Oxford Brookes, Alice Harper in the 2-seat. Charlotte Wedenburen and Sina Schaefer, the German woman who rode for Germany, was nominated for Germany at World Cup 2 in Lucerne. Unfortunately didn't start because there were a lack of entries from other countries. But a lot of experience in this Oxford Brookes boat on the right of your picture as we look at them. But Leander continued to lead in this head breeze, moderate head breeze down the course.
And quite a bit smaller, the Oxford Brookes crew, maybe all lightweights in that boat. It's always going to be a bit tricky, lightweight going into a headwind, but I tell you what, they've got some endurance in that crew. Charlotte Wedderburn, you can 3-seat there. During lockdown, she did some challenges, ran a marathon, did an Ironman, and she's actually done the marathon in 3 hours 20 minutes, which is not too shabby. So some incredible physiological athletes in this race.
Yeah, sensational what people did in lockdown, particularly the rowers find challenges to keep themselves motivated. So this Leander crew on the left of your picture, coached by Ross Hunter, continue to scull away really smoothly. They're not under too much pressure, so they can really afford to think about their processes. And as you heard Jess Eddy say, that includes sculling very flat. There's not much water covering the looms. I think, you could look at that on a coaching video and just say, look guys, this is how deep the blades go up, not how deep they go. They're just the spoons covered.
Yeah, and you see that in some of the top crews. I mean, some of the top crews do loom a lot. My dry still did, where you have something to go on the end of that spoon. But this is what you teach. This is how you tell them to do it, and not creating any more interference in the loom. You just want the spoon to be in, to be filled, and they're doing it very well. Ross has done a great job there. They're looking very classy coming down the track.
Yeah, they're just letting it flow off the back end a little bit more. I mean, they know they've got this race in hand, and they've got the measure of their opponents, Oxford Brookes. Oxford Brookes just wandering a little bit. You can see on the steering there. I mean, how does that happen?
Once you're in the zone of rowing and you're racing and you're in that rhythm, you might suddenly look up and realise you're a bit closer to the booms than you like, and maybe a little bit of panicked steering moves you out, but they're corrected there. It's always more of a threat here, isn't it?
Jen Hoffman, bow woman from the Oxford Brookes University A crew quadruple, who is steering that. And you know, if you get phased by the booms at all, you kind of want to make sure you don't hit them. So, you know, if suddenly you think I'm a bit too close to that, you'll come away from it. Down to the boat, Kath Maitland, Michelle Truax, Natasha Harris-White on the left of your picture there. With that white cap on. And the stroke woman, Cordelia Marnie, alumnus of Princeton, former Headington schoolgirl, no stranger to this Henley course. And there is Sina Schaefer, 25-year-old German who strokes this Oxford Brookes boat.
And this women's quad event is kind of wide open. There's no big internationals here racing. There's a very strong kind of world-class start crew from Twickenham in the half of the draw, and this is the Leander crew here. So I think all to play for these club athletes racing in an open event here. It's really interesting.
Yeah, and so many club athletes have targeted these open events, you know, when it's the Olympic year and you don't get so many international entries because they're all off at the Olympics, and to win an open event at Henley, that's something.
Their minds are probably on tomorrow. Now they're coming down through the stewards' enclosure. Making it look nice and simple. Brookes have stuck in there, giving them a race, giving them something to think about.
Yeah, lovely technique, as we've said. From the start, nice and fluid now. That aggression off the start, that's all disappeared, and like nice, flowing, easy rhythm. Leander Club across the finishing line to take that semi-final of the Princess Grace Challenge Cup from their opponents, Oxford Brookes University A crew.